Hey guys, first regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about one of the most powerful builds for Siege mode in patch 9.0 to absolutely demolish bosses. Now to do this, we'll be using the tactical class and the bolt rifle with grenade launcher. Now this weapon used to be like the single most OP weapon in the entire game because way back when, Emperor's Vengeance used to give you all of your grenades back off a single proc, stupidly overpowered at the time, but they did patch that out. But we were once again OP thanks to requisition terminals giving us ammo boxes on command. There's also an amazing perk synergy here with this because we do have the perk here, Spare Power. Collecting an ammo box restores ability charge by 25%. So if you have the perk up here, Vital Data, that gives you 50% of your scan charge back on Extremis or Terminus level scan, you can just dump out all of your grenades like a precise calibration and concentrate fire scan zone, absolutely delete whatever is in like your path or just like what's behind it, to be honest, and you just pick up 2 ammo boxes, get all of your grenades back, and guess what? Your Auspex is back once again. This is amazing for cycling horde clear. You might be thinking that like, wait, like this is going to cost me so many requisition points, but it really doesn't cost you that many. If you use it strategically, you're just going to be doing stupid damage and your horde clear rate is going to be absurd. So it really is that powerful, and Auspex just makes everything more valuable, period, and also enables all of your teammates. Now for the actual setup on the weapon perk tree here, I just build for ammo because you don't actually use the gun portion of this all that much whatsoever. So really we just want to pick up perks like extended magazine, increased capacity, and stuff like that, because these will boost up the total amount of grenades we have with this build, which will come out to like 12. Now we don't actually pick up the perk here, Tactical Precision. Headshots that deal 20% more damage, non-headshot damage decreases by 10%, because this actually lowers all non-headshot damage by 10%, period, including your grenade launcher, so we don't really want that, which is why we kind of skip over it. We just build for everything else and pick up Headhunter here, and also pick up Recoupment for extra armor restore, because Tactical does benefit from this. I won't lie to you guys, you are basically a grenade Andy, but this thing's CHP recovery and damage is just that good that it's still top tier for Siege mode. Super strong, probably the best weapon on Tactical currently for like clearing bosses and hordes, especially in the later waves. Now for the secondary weapon, I do take a plasma pistol. We mainly use this for a rate of fire like stagger on soul can terminators and stuff like that, and occasionally CHP regen and the AoE gun strikes. Now for the perk tree, I just build for full ammo and charge speed because we are going to be taking balanced distribution, so our secondary will not be doing as much damage as say like plasma boost was, because we really just want to max out our nade launcher damage. Now down here, I just take a balanced chain sword or a block chain sword. It's really up to you. It doesn't matter too much. For the most part, just be spamming grenades, and that's kind of the way this build works. But if you want to use a balanced one or even a fencing one, you can sure do that as well. Either way, I just build it this way for the balanced and fencing version because this just gives you the full throttle, momentum gain, and combined onslaught, lets you benefit from your light attacks a lot more. Now for our tactical perk tree selection, I do take balanced distribution first. Your primary weapon deals 10% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 10% less damage. We are pretty much only going to be using our primary on this build, and when we do use our plasma pistol, it is mainly just to stagger guys, so it doesn't matter too much. This is just free damage for our nades, which is really what we want here. Next perk I take is Heightened Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Now having no knockback while firing your grenades is just too damn important to not have, in my opinion. I have tried out the perk here, Relentless Pursuit. After a gun strike, range damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. This is not a bad perk, but 5 seconds is not a very long uptime. I do wish it functioned more like the other one in the Sniper Prestige perk tree that is 20% damage boost for 10 seconds, but unfortunately it's 175, so Heightened Vigor is just way better. And the next perk I take here is a little strange to a lot of people. It's Steady Aim. Now I know you may be wondering, why the hell would I take Steady Aim over Emperor's Vengeance? Well, it's because you don't actually use the procs of Emperor's Vengeance all that much for your nades because you're spamming ammo boxes in this, and the extra boss damage from this actually matters a lot. I know it doesn't sound like it'd be that good, but when I first heard about it, I thought the exact same thing, and I took it in game, and it was incredibly powerful. Steady Aim really does boost up your AoE terminus damage tremendously, and that's really what you need on this class, period, especially with this build. Now, for the team perk selection, I just take Secure Stockpile. Equipment charge restored by 1 for all squad members. Cooldown is 60 seconds. Now, you could max out your damage with things like Aligned Aim for your grenade launcher, but really, Secure Stockpile is just too good to not take in Siege mode, so this one's just better overall. Now, for the gear perk tree, I just take Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. Like I said before, this one will help you cycle back into your spare power and get full value out of 2 grenade boxes to get your grenades back, and just cycle Auspex over and over and over. Very, very powerful, especially in the later waves of Siege, and honestly, just pumping out out Auspex for your team is going to nuke the Horde anyways, so it's totally worth requisition points. Now, next perks I take are Precise Calibration. Enemies marked by Auspex Scan Zone take an additional 75% damage, but Auspex Scan Radius is reduced by 25%, and the perk here, Concentrated Fire. Auspex Scan Zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex Scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose a mark when they leave the scanned area. Now, these two perks do stack. This makes it so when you have an Auspex down, anything in the Auspex zone just gets shit on, is like the best way to put it. And if your teammates help you fire on like a boss in here, they're just going to die. Like, the bosses are going to die. They will not be able to withstand your grenades plus plasma and other things from your teammates. It's just too strong. Now, for the signature perk tree, we take Radiant Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This is just a super powerful AoE perk, way better than these other two signature perks and need a serious buff, so pretty much always take this, especially in Siege mode, where AoE is so damn powerful. Now for the Prestige perk selection, I do take Skilled Supplier first. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. This actually gives us more total grenades, so we pretty much always take this with a grenade launcher build. Next perk we take here is Resilience. Medicae stims restore 40% more HP. We are not that tanky on the tactical class here, we're quite squishy, so having more valuable stims is very good for us, especially since we will be eating into more requisition points than usual anyways, so making those stims a little bit more valuable is pretty damn good. Next perk I take is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%, pretty self-explanatory. This is just a health increase for a class that has like basically no tank perks. Pretty much always take this as well. And Spare Power, collecting an ammo box for its ability charged by 25%. This is like the most fundamental perk to ever have with a grenade launcher build, period. So always take this as well. Now, you may be wondering where the hell is Acuity. Well, we don't really need it because we don't really benefit from headshot damage whatsoever. So skipping over Acuity for this build works just fine. Now, that's pretty much all I have to say about the actual build setup here. Really, the bolt rifle with the grenade launcher is just stupid value and horde clear potential, and even though you are eating through requisition points, your horde clear is so damn good that doesn't actually matter all that much, and you get like full value out of this thing anyways. And like ammo boxes are pretty damn cheap, especially with how cheap they make Guardian Relics and armor boost, and even the Dreadnought now. Hey guys, first Guardsman here, and today I'll be talking about a Stalker bolt rifle build for patch 9.0 Space Marine 2 for the tactical class. Now, the Stalker bolt rifle did pick up a couple buffs this patch. The firepower variant now has a times 2.3 headshot multiplier instead of times 2, and the rate of fire variant had its rate of fire slightly increased. So they're both very strong options, but today I will be using the firepower variant because when we stack this with perks like Balanced Distribution for 10% increased primary damage and Aligned Aim for 15% increased range damage overall, we kind of do a stupid amount of headshot damage now. And especially if you have things like the Adamant Hunter perk active, which is when your health is low 30%, headshots deal 25% more damage. This is a very noticeably improved weapon over the previous firepower variant, and it's kind of ridiculous how quickly you can kill some of the Majoris in this game. Now, I do just move down the top tree for pure headshot damage, and I pick up a very important perk in my opinion, which is Recoupment. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores one armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, the tactical is a very strong class, but he is quite squishy, so having armor restore at range, especially if you're like shooting a Devourer or something, you have to like headshot them instead of actually getting an execute on them. This is really good to give you back an armor you'd otherwise not have, and like save you some HP from range like chip and stuff like that. So very, very strong perk on tactical in particular, which is why I pick it this way. And for the secondary weapon selection, I do take the Plasma Pistol rate of fire variant. This is a very powerful weapon this patch because they did buff the charge speed to be kind of insane. Super strong, also has great synergy with perks like Plasma Boost to get that overheat extra damage very quickly. Very strong option, and the gun strikes also have an AoE effect, so I really do think this is overall like the best secondary in the game currently. Now for the perk tree, I just build for ammo primarily and shout charge speed to go even faster, and really getting secondary ammunition in this game is kind of hard for like every class except Bulwark, so building for ammo seems to be the best option in general for this stuff. Now for my melee weapon selection, I do take a Relic Tier Blockchain Sword because even though this thing only has one speed, when we stack it with Battle Focus, we are basically one combo skipping any Majoris in the game. Very, very strong weapon on tactical, and the Adrenaline Surge block regen of your armor is overall better to me than fencing or balanced parry, because gun strikes really aren't super valuable in this game all the time, and sometimes armor restore and stagger is simply more important, and this really helps that, especially for the tactical class. And the way I build it is just going up here. I take Perpetual Strength after Swift Recovery. I move over into the perk Reverberating Impact for a Stomp area of effect radius increased by 50%. I don't use Stomp too much on this thing, but the perk down here, Saw Blade, to increase my light combo length from 4 to 5 is practically useless because we have one speed, so I just go all the way down here instead and just take the perk Extremis Slayer and skip over this one entirely. I also always pick up the perk Full Throttle because you want to be able to do the combo skip. That's very important on this weapon, period, especially if you have adrenaline surge charges to do stupid damage. Though I will say, if you are using something like the balanced or fencing version, I probably would just build for like light combo damage instead. Just take perpetual strength, move over into swift recovery, perpetual strength again, take the saw blade perk, move into heavy onslaught, pick up full throttle as always, and the major difference here is just taking momentum gain for each consecutive light attack, increasing light attack melee damage by 3% up to 30% for 3 seconds, and we also pick the perk up here, combined onslaught, which is like combo attacks with this weapon deal 10% more melee damage, because we do have 9 speed on the fencing version and 7 speed on the balanced version of the chainsword, so a really good option for these two. Now for the tactical perk tree setup, I do take balance distribution first. Your primary weapon deals 10% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 10% less damage. In this case, I'm primarily using my plasma pistol for gun strikes and staggers. I don't really care about the 10% loss, but if you find like a 10% boost to the Stalker bolt rifle excessive, you could take plasma boost instead. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40%, and their charge shots use 1 less energy. This is still a really good perk here too, and really it's up to you which one you want to pick. Now next perk I think is pretty mandatory for any block setup. Just take Height and Vigor. After a perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage. Do not lose control upon taking heavy hits and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Very, very strong perk. Pretty much like the best perk in this whole tree, for being honest. Now alternatively, you could take Versatility, which is after switching weapons, your secondary weapon deals 25% more damage. The effect lasts until reloading or switching back to your primary weapon. If you do take this perk though, I would also take Plasma Boost, mainly because if you stack these together with the rate of fire plasma pistol, you have a stupid amount of potential DPS on that thing. Very strong combo, but losing out on no knockback does kind of suck. Now some people do like Relentless Pursuit. After a gun strike, range damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds, but if you're using a like balanced weapon or fencing weapon, the actual time you have this perk active is so little. Like 5 seconds is not very long, and most of the time after a parry or like really anything with a gun strike, you're just going to be shooting them in the face with your gun strike instead of shooting them with your gun. So I don't actually think this one is that beneficial. I think the sniper has a significantly better version of it in the prestige perk tree with exacting focus, because this one lasts 10 seconds even though it's only 20% versus 25%. I do kind of wish the exacting focus perk was the way it worked on the tactical here, but unfortunately it does not. Now next perk I take is Emperor's Vengeance, just for ammo economy, because the Stalker bolt rifle is kind of ammo hungry at times. And for the team perk selection, I do take Aligned Aim. Range damage increases by 15% for all squad members. This one just makes your Stalker bolt rifle hit like a truck on top of balance distribution, even though it already kind of does. It might be a little excessive to some people, and you could take Secure Stockpile. Equipment charge restored by 1 for all squad members, cooldown in 60 seconds, because this perk is pretty busted. I decided to take this one because I'm maxing range damage. Now next perk I take here is Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores Aspect scan charge by 50%. This is a very strong perk when you're fighting bosses. It makes it a lot easier to get back your Auspex, and Auspex with concentrated fires you will be taking is very valuable, even if you aren't taking things like precise calibration on top of it. So I do value this perk pretty highly, especially in things like siege mode. And for the next perk I have here is Battle Focus. A perfectly timed parry or block, it gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. I mainly use this because I am using the block relic tier chainsword, and this one will hit like an absolute truck with Battle Focus. One shots a lot of guys with like 2 combo lictors. Very, very strong for this. Now if you are using like a balanced or fencing version, you could just take Precise Calibration instead, because Precise Calibration is stacked with the perk here, Concentrated Fire, which is Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. Stacked with the 75% Auspex damage buff from Precise Calibration does have you and your teammates kind of nuking bosses, so very strong option. But if you are using a block chainsword, I would just take Battle Focus. Now for the signature perk tree, I would just take Radiant Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is incredible. Honestly, just like one of the best signature perks in the game, and compared to the other two, it's like these ones don't even come close, so pretty much always take this one. And for my prestige perk selection, I do take Acuity first. Each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 3% up to 15%. The bonus lasts 5 seconds without a headshot. Kind of a no-brainer for basically any bolt weapon in this game, and having the bonus last 5 seconds without a headshot is very forgiving between shots, so pretty much always take this. Next perk I take is Skill Supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. This just helps out your ammo economy a little bit in those moments that like your Emperor's Vengeance is proccing, or maybe you aren't using Emperor's Vengeance period, so pretty strong perk. Now alternatively, especially in Siege mode, you could take Spare Power, collecting an ammo box restores ability charge by 25%. This is very strong for boss nuking with like precise calibration and concentrated fire in the Siege mode, but I'm playing Operations with this build, so I just take this. Now, next perk I take is Resilience. Medicae stims restore 40% more health. This is a very strong perk because you do get damage at times on the tactical class because you are quite squishy, and having that extra like bit of healing from a stim is quite valuable. So strong perk for sure, and just makes them overall more valuable. Next perk here is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. This is like one of the only tanking perks on the tactical period, so definitely take this. And that's pretty much all I take on this build. Now, second look is not very good, especially with concentrated fire, because you basically never ever miss an Auspex scan zone with that anyways. And exigency charge, I mean, it could be good if it was like below 50% HP, but 25%, that's pretty dangerous, and only a 15% increased recharge speed for an Auspex is not epic compared to the other options. Now, that's pretty much all I have to say on this build, guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this helped. Stalker bolt rifle is in a good spot for sure, and this is already like a fan favorite weapon and one of my favorite weapons in the game, and the fact that like its other two variants and the variant I kind of preferred anyways, the rate of fire got buffed, is pretty cool, and having an increased headshot multiplier on firepower variants definitely makes them feel a lot better on many of the weapons, including things like the Marksman Carbine. So, hey guys, first Regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about a Plasma Incinerator build for the tactical class in patch 9.0 Space Marine 2 for both Operations and Siege mode. Now, the Plasma Incinerator is a very strong weapon in this game. It does great Majoris, Extremis, and even Terminus damage, and the best variant for this weapon, in my opinion, is the rate of fire version, mainly because this weapon's common shots kind of suck ass if we're being honest, so charge shots are just the way to go, and getting to those charge shots is very important for damage and CHP recovery, so rate of fire overall the best. Now, for the perk tree setup, I do take Blast Radius first. A damage radius of a charge shot increases by 10%. Since we are charge shotting all the time, having a greater blast radius to do damage is always very beneficial for us. Next perk I take is Rampage. After killing 7 enemies in rapid succession, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This is very easy to pull off, and 25% more damage for 10 seconds is really chunky with a very long uptime. Very strong perk for sure. Next perk I take is Efficient Charge. Charge shots from this plasma weapon use 2 less energy. Now, this is really good even with the perk Emperor's Vengeance to give you ammo back, and if you aren't using this perk and you're taking something like Steady Aim, it is pretty much mandatory, so Efficient Charge, very strong. Now, next perk I take is Charge Speed. This just gives our charge shots more projectile speed, very useful to actually hit enemies. Then I move over here to Blast Radius, and then I take the perk Adamant Velocity. Then I move down here even further into Perfect Radius. Now, the reason I don't pick up the perk up here, Adamant Restoration, is because on the tactical class you really don't need this, but you could just move up here if you wanted to, if you're not using Emperor's Vengeance, just like you would take Efficient Charge, but for the most part, I just don't value these perks up here that highly. Now, next perk I take is Perpetual Velocity. Shots charge 15% faster. I would say you pretty much always take this perk no matter what. Charge shot speed is just incredibly valuable in this game, so pretty much always take Perpetual Velocity wherever you can find it. Now, I move up here for Home Precision. Equip weapons maximum spread decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. Now, I actually prefer to shoot this weapon in the hip fire more than actually aiming down sights. Same thing for the plasma pistol, so for that reason, I pretty much always take Home Precision. It actually makes your shots very, very accurate in the hip fire, and I think that flows a lot better with the game's melee combat in general, so very strong option in my opinion. You don't have to take this if you like to aim down sights, but I really do think hip fire is very, very strong in this game. Now, I also pick up the perk Efficient Charge again, which is pretty much the same thing here, to just give our charge shots even more ammo efficiency. Very strong option, and then I also pick up Great Might. Damage increases by 10% against Terminus level enemies. Now, if you're foregoing the perks down here and you're moving up here, you're gonna be missing a perk if you want to take Home Precision, so I'd probably just dump this one. And that's pretty much all there is for the actual weapon perk tree. For the secondary weapon selection, I do take a Plasma Pistol charge rate variant, mainly because the rate of fire variant of the Plasma Pistol in patch 9.0 did get buffed to have an even faster charge speed. This thing charges incredibly quickly now, and also has great synergy with the perk Plasma Boost. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40%, and their charge shots use 1 less energy. Well, since we charge so damn quickly on the rate of fire variant now, your actual DPS can come out to be higher than your primary, especially if you're taking something like Versatility for a 25% damage increase to your plasma pistol. Very, very strong option, and honestly, it's like the best secondary in the whole game. It also has AoE effects on its gun strikes on top of everything else. And for the perk tree, I would just set up this way and pick up the Perpetual Velocity perk here to charge even faster, and all the ammo perks to make it more efficient, because it's kind of hard to get back secondary ammo in this game outside of ammo boxes and ammo caches, so pretty strong to have more ammo for pretty much any class. And for my melee weapon setup, I do take a relic tier block chainsword because despite only having 1 speed, this thing hits like a truck, especially on tactical with things like battle focus, close targeting, and heightened vigor. And you can pretty much one combo most Majoris and even Extremis in this game with this thing. Very strong option on him. And tactical especially benefits from block charge, armor restore more than things like defensing and balance parry on my Norris for armor because he is pretty squishy and getting armor back on command versus bosses and Extremis and Majoris is just more useful for him. And for the perk tree setup, I just move down here. I skip over the perk Saw Blade because we're never getting a 5-strike like combo with 1 speed. So I go up here for the stomp area of effect radius increase instead. I just pick up the full throttle for the full throttle skip, and I just go down here to Extremis Slayer because you really don't need the Majoris perk, mainly because you're already one comboing them off of things like battle focus and close targeting anyways. Now, if you want to take the balanced or fencing version, you definitely could. For these, since they are faster, I probably would build them more like this. I'll just go down here into Swift Recovery and move on over. Just pick up all the light combo perks like Combined Onslaught down here into the full throttle skip, my Norris Slayer, Extremis Slayer again. And then we take momentum gain because each consecutive light attack increases light attack melee damage by 3% up to 30% for 3 seconds. And since we do have 7 speed and 9 speed on this one, they are just fast enough to actually take advantage of that. But overall, I still think the blockchain sword is the best on tactical. And for the tactical perk tree setup, I do take Plasma Boost first. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40%, and their charge shots use 1 less energy. Now, we are using Plasma in both our primary and secondary weapon slots, so it's kind of a no-brainer, free DPS increase. Next perk I take here is Heightened Vigor. After a perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Now, this is like one of the best no knockback perks in the entire game. No knockback already saves your life over and over, and having more melee and gun strike damage on top of that is beneficial for balance, fencing, and block, so top tier perk for sure. Now, if you want to have like the ultimate plasma pistol, you could take versatility because this 25% damage stacked with the boost from plasma boost stacked with the rate of fire damage increases, or rate of fire charge rate increases I should say, in patch 9.0 are very, very powerful, and you can actually out DPS your primary with this thing if you take all of these perks. But overall, Heightened Vigor is just way better. And Relentless Pursuit, 25% more range damage on gun strike for 5 seconds is a strong perk effect, but 5 seconds is not a long enough uptime for me to ever actually want to take this. Now, next perk I take is Emperor's Vengeance. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy restores your primary weapon's ammo by 1 magazine. Cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Now, I value this one a lot on the Plasma Incinerator because it's not super ammo efficient, even with all the efficiency charge stuff. And overall, Steady Aim is a good perk, but this one is just better in my opinion. Now, next perk I take is Aligned Aim. Range damage increases by 15% for all squad members. This perk is very strong, not as strong as Secure Stockpile, which is an equipment charge restoration of 1 every 60 seconds for everybody, but this is also like the best team perk in the entire game period. But I want to take Aligned Aim today for bonus damage. Next perk I take here is Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores Auspex scans charge by 50%. This just gives you more Auspexes when you're actually fighting Terminus and Extremis, which is what you want to Auspex in the first place, and also kind of pairs pretty well with perks like Close Targeting. When Auspex scan is in cooldown, melee damage increases by 25%, so you're going to be going back and forth between your Auspexes, and very, very powerful option for sure. Next I take Battle Focus. After a perfect time parry or block, you give the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. This stacked with our perk Heightened Vigor on top of Close Targeting, which is when Auspex scan is in cooldown, melee damage increases by 25%. You have a stupid amount of damage with the blockchain sword. You will one-shot most Majoris and even like almost one combo most Extremis in the game. Very, very powerful combination here. But I do want to also say that if you're playing in Siege mode, I would just take Precise Calibration on top of Concentrated Fire, because Auspex for your team and nuking bosses becomes a lot more important than like dealing serious damage to Extremis and Majoris, which is why this perk combo is better overall for that. Now, for the signature perk, I do take Radiant Impact here. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This is just an absurdly valuable team signature perk here, and really these other two don't even compare, so pretty much always take this one. Now, for my prestige perk setup, Acuity does nothing for us because we have no headshot damage multiplier on plasma weapons, so pretty much skip over this all the time. Instead, I take Skill Supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. This just makes you more ammo efficient overall. Then I pick up the perk down here, Resilience. Medicae Stims restore 40% more health, because this class here is not very tanky at all, and having more valuable stims is actually pretty useful for him. And the next perk I take is Fortitude, which is a health increase of 15%, because having more HP on a not very tanky class is also super super valuable. And then I also pick up spare power here. Collecting the ammo box restores ability charge by 25%. Now, this is way more valuable in siege mode because you can actually buy ammo boxes, but even in the operations, it comes into use at times, and really second look and exigency charge are kind of shit. So pretty much always take these for if you're not using a headshot multiplier weapon, and if you are using a headshot multiplier weapon like heavy bolt pistol or something, I'd probably pick this up over spare power instead, at least for operations. So that is pretty much all I have to say about the Plasma Incinerator tactical build in patch 9.0 Space Marine 2. Now, the Plasma Incinerator is really fun, but I do hope the other variants get like a better buff to their charge speed, or maybe the common shots on this thing get a buff at some point, because right now, rate of fire is just too damn good to not take on the Plasma Incinerator, and unlike the heavy Plasma Incinerator, the light shots suck, so tactical's kind of like railroaded into this option, or the venting speed option. Those are pretty much like the only two good ones, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's just the way it is currently. Hey guys, first Regardsman here, so I'll be talking about a bolt rifle tactical build for patch 9.0 Space Marine 2. Now, the bolt rifle did get buffed this patch. The accuracy variant now has a tighter spread and reduced recoil on top of a ×2 headshot multiplier, which makes this weapon do tremendously more damage, and I honestly think this is one of the strongest automatic weapons in the game currently, and the tactical class also has stupid amounts of range damage perks anyway, so it's even better than it looks. Now, for the perk tree here, I do pick up Headhunter first. Headshots deal 10% more damage. This is a headshot weapon, so pretty much self-explanatory here. Next perk is Adamant Hunter. When your health is below 30%, headshots deal 25% more damage. This one feels like it affects the base damage of your weapon, and it's honestly an incredibly powerful perk when it does proc, though you are on low HP, which does kind of suck, but very, very powerful perk effect for sure. Next perk is Fast Reload. Then I move into the other perk here, Able Reload. After using a class ability, the equipped weapon instantly reloads. This is a pretty strong perk. We don't really use our Auspex that often to reload our weapon, but sometimes it does benefit us. Next perk here is Amazing Recoupment. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores one armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This one really helps you maintain like no chip damage whatsoever when you're trying to like shoot a guy at range, like you're popping their head with like a ton of devourers or something. Really strong to keep your HP capped out without actually taking direct damage, sort of like this perk in general. Next perk down here is Great Might for extra terminus damage, and I also pick up the perk Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. It's kind of a no-brainer because we are taking a headshot damage weapon in the first place. Next perk here is Cleaving Fire, which isn't really that useful. And the next perk I take is Rampage. After killing 7 enemies in rapid succession, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 15 seconds. And now, if you don't want to take this perk, you could move up here instead for Rapid Health. This one is also very good, though it also has a negative perk synergy with Adamant Hunter here, because, you know, you'll get below 30% HP, get the headshot damage buff, and then you'll like overheal yourself with it with the Rapid Health perk. So not that amazing for like the perk synergy here, which is why I decided to take this, but this one is a safer option. Now, next perk here is Extend Magazine. Then I move up to pick up extra headshot damage and even more damage flat out. So pretty self-explanatory. It's built for pure damage on this, and overall this weapon does a ton of damage, so I kind of like it currently. Now, for the secondary weapon selection, I did go for something kind of different here. I just took the firepower variant of the heavy bolt pistol. I really wouldn't recommend this as much as I would recommend the rate of fire plasma, because really don't need the extra headshot damage from a heavy bolt pistol to begin with, but it is pretty fun sometimes. And for the plasma pistol, just take rate of fire, because even though I will be taking balanced distribution, the extra charge speed really helps with stagger and stuff like that, and CHP recovery. It's just a very strong option. And for the plasma pistol, I would build it this way, and for the heavy bolt pistol, regardless of which variant you're using, I would use it this way. So that's really up to you which one of these you want to pick, and the regular bolt pistol just sucks, so don't touch this one to begin with. And that's pretty much all there is for the secondary selection. Now, for the melee weapon selection, I do take a Relic Tier Block Chainsword, because this one has amazing synergy with perks like Battle Focus. It lets you one combo most Majoris in the game, very powerful option, and also the extra armor regen on Terminus, Extremis, and Majoris is very strong for Tactical, because Tactical does kind of lack armor regen and damage reduction, so this really does help with that. Now, alternatively, you could use the balance or fencing, that is up to you, but for the blockchain sword, I do build it this way, as go down to Swift Recovery, pick up extra damage perks, skip over Saw Blade because we're never getting 5 strikes with 1 speed, and I take the Stomp Area of Effect Radius increase instead. Then I move down into the Full Throttle perk for the combo skip, and then I also pick up the perk down here, Extremis Slayer and Minora's Slayer for extra Extremis damage mainly. That's pretty much how I set up this one. Now, for the balance and fencing versions, I would set them up this way because we can take advantage of the light attacks, with stuff like momentum gain, so I just go all the way down through Saw Blade, pick up the perk Heavy Onslaught, full throttle once again. Then we also pick up Combined Onslaught. Light combo attacks with this weapon deal 10% more melee damage, pretty nice DPS increase. Then we just go down here into momentum gain for the light attack damage increase of up to 30% on consecutive light attacks. A really strong option on the faster versions of this weapon because they are pretty damn fast currently in patch 9.0 because they both got buffed. So pretty good options for sure if you want to take these. And that's all there is for the melee weapon. Now for the perk tree selection, I do just take balanced distribution first. Your primary weapon deals 10% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 10% less damage. I'm just building to like max out headshot damage on the bolt rifle, so that's why I took this. If you're going to take a plasma pistol, I would pick up plasma boost. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40%, and their charge shots use 1 less energy, because this one makes your rate of fire plasma pistol do stupidly high DPS. Very strong option on the tactical class, so if you want to go that route, you certainly can. And the next perk I would take regardless is Heightened Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. No knockback in this game is super strong, keeps you alive, and this one is just by far the best perk in this tree. Versatility with plasma boost on the plasma pistol is very strong as well, but this one just keeps you alive more, which is why I prefer it. Now, next perk I take is also kind of mandatory, Emperor's Vengeance. Killing a Majora's level or higher enemy restores your prior weapon's ammo by 1 magazine. Cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Now, the bolt rifle is not super ammo efficient with the accuracy variant, so I really like the Emperor's Vengeance perk on it, and honestly, this thing does enough damage that you don't really need perks like Emperor's Judgment or Steady Aim to like really benefit off of it, so Emperor's Vengeance is just the best way to go. Now, for the team perk selection, I just take Aligned Aim. A range damage increase of 15% for all squad members is very strong. Now, Secure Stockpile is obviously better, but I don't like using this all the time, but really it is up to you which one you want to pick. Now, for the gear perk tree, I do pick up the perk Vital Data first. Scanning an extremis or terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. This just gives you more Auspexes, which is very strong, especially with things like Concentrated Fire that make your Auspex better in general and last longer, so even more value. And for the next perk here, I take Battle Focus. A perfectly timed parry or block, it gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. This is very, very strong for things like the Blockchain Sword, though if you're using like a fencing or balance weapon, you could pick up Precise Calibration instead, because this one will make your Auspex do 75% more damage, but the Auspex scanner's radius is reduced by 25%, and when you combine this with the Concentrated Fire perk, your Auspex scan does stupid damage buffs to bosses, which is kind of incredible for your team play, but Battle Focus I think is better with the Blockchain Sword. And Concentrated Fire is just the best perk in this tree because this one just makes your Auspex more valuable by lasting longer, on top of just making them take more damage. So super strong option, and like the only downside of it being like stuck in one spot doesn't really matter because bosses are so fat in this game, like to chill around one spot anyways. Now for the Signature perk, I do take Radiant Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk just does stupid damage to like all the Majoris, Extremis, and Terminus at times in your area. Very, very powerful. Also saves your life at times, to be honest. It's just such a clutch perk, and this is by far the best perk for the Signature tree here, and the Signal Jammer perk sucks ass, and this perk fell off the moment they added in like 30 Extremis and things like that, and all the enraged guys, so Marked for Death sucks compared to this perk. This perk's just the best. Take this. And for the Prestige perk selection, I do take Acuity first. Each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 3% up to 15%. The bonus lasts 5 seconds without a headshot. Now, we are using a bolt rifle with a headshot multiplier of 2, so kind of a no-brainer to take an Acuity perk with this. And this is just an amazing DPS increase in general, and kind of a crazy Prestige perk overall, to be honest. So pretty much always take this. Now, next perk here is kind of up to you. You kind of take Skilled Supplier for an ammo reserve increase of 15%, or if you're playing Siege mode, Spare Power can be better because getting out more Auspexes can really save your team, especially in boss waves. That's really up to you, though overall, the best like combo with this perk anyways is a Grenade Launcher, so you're probably using that build instead. Now, next perk here is Resilience. Medicae Stims restore 40% more health. This perk is incredible to give you more value on your stims. A very strong perk option to keep you alive. And this actually makes a huge impact where you really wouldn't think it would, because it's actually quite strong, especially in operations where stims are hard to come by yourself. Very strong perk. I take this pretty much all the time when I can. Next perk here is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. This is just a tank perk, and HP increases in Space Marine 2 are amazing wherever you can find them, prevents you from instantaneously dying at times, and the Tactical is a very squishy class, so he really needs all the help he can get. And that's pretty much all there is for the setup of the bolt rifle tactical build. This build is pretty strong. The bolt rifle actually feels amazing now. The firepower variant has fallen off so hard compared to this one because headshot multipliers in Space Marine 2 just matter way too much, because if you don't hit a guy in the head anyways, you're basically missing your shot because of how low damage the body shots are in this game. Kind of a huge balance problem at the moment, but that's just the way it is, and headshot multiplier weapons are just super strong. So same thing for things like the headshot multiplier variant on the Stalker bolt rifle, and things like the Marksman Carbine variant with the ×2 headshot multiplier. All of these got buffed in this patch, and they're all quite strong options now, and hopefully this build guide helped. Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about a heavy bolt rifle build for the tactical class in patch 9.0 Space Marine 2. Now the version down here for the heavy bolt rifle actually got a buff to its base damage a little bit this patch. By no means a major buff, but kind of noteworthy because the heavy bolt rifle hardly gets anything in this game, and today I'm going to be taking this one to operations. Now for the perk tree selection, I do pick up the perk Headhunter first. Headshots deal 10% more damage. This thing is pretty much only good for headshots in the first place, so pretty much always take this. Then I move into an amazing perk here with Adamant Hunter. When your health is below 30%, headshots deal 25% more damage. Now this perk feels like it affects the base damage of the weapon, so actually super valuable when you're below 30% HP. Your damage is greatly increased with this perk, so pretty much always take this. Next perk here is Fast Reload. Moving into the perk Able Reload. After using a class ability, the equipped weapon instantly reloads. This pretty much only works on the tactical class because on heavy it's broken with Iron Halo, but you know, we're playing tactical today, so it doesn't matter too much. Next perk here is Headhunter for more headshot damage. Then we move up here to the perk Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, and non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. Now this affects all non-headshot damage periods, like body shots pretty much do nothing, like all your ranged damage except for headshot damage is decreased flat out, and the actual benefit is not like properly described here, but that's just the way it is, but still worth taking pretty much always. Next perk down here is Great Might. Damage increases by 10% against Terminus level enemies. Super strong perk for just bonus damage versus Terminus, and I don't really pick up the perk down here for increased capacity because we will be taking the perk over here, Emperor's Vengeance, which kind of solves like all ammo economy problems on the heavy bolt rifle. Now for the next perk over here, I take Recoupment. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a headshot this weapon restores one armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now Recoupment is a very valuable perk. Armor restores in this game are super strong, especially on the tactical class, because this class is not super tanky and armor restores are kind of hard to come by for him in general, so really strong for him in particular. And the next perk I take is Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores your health by 10%. Now this perk is amazing. There is no cooldown on this, so there's like an army of Hormigons coming against you. You just get your HP back up to 30% easily. Now the description of this actually kind of lies because it's not just 30%, you can actually get up to like 35%, so it's a little bit better than it sounds. It does kind of have a negative synergy with the Adamant Hunter perk, because if you fight like an army of Hormigons, you will lose your buff from this because you'll go above 30% HP, but honestly, getting healing in this game for free is pretty rare, so it's a very strong perk regardless, especially on a gun that just like culls hordes anyways. Now next perk I take is the Perpetual Penetration perk. This one doesn't do a ton for us because we already have a piercing value of 4, but I just take this perk to move into the perk over here, Divine Might, for more damage and increase our magazine capacity, because really just like non-stop shooting this gun is a whole shtick with it, so pretty much very useful. And that's pretty much all there is for the weapon perk tree. Now for the secondary weapon selection, I once again pick the Rate of Fire Plasma Pistol because this thing did get buffed in patch 9.0. The charge speed is stupidly fast now. CHP recovery is off the charts with this thing. Stagger and stuff like DPS increases are all a boon to your class, especially when we have perks like Plasma Boost. If you decide to take this, when plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40% and their charge shots use 1 less energy. This makes the Plasma Pistol very ammo efficient on top of doing stupid damage at times, because you reach that 30% charge rate very quickly on the Rate of Fire version now. And either way, I would always build the perk tree for like Plasma Collection, Perpetual Velocity for even faster charge shots, and just Divine Might down here and even more ammunition, because ammo economy is like the only thing holding this weapon back. Now if you want to use a heavy bolt pistol, you can, but we kind of like cover our headshot multiplier here with our heavy bolt rifle, and the CHP recovery of the Plasma Pistol is just too damn good. And even though I am using balanced distribution in this build, losing 10% damage on this doesn't matter too much because CHP recovery is still very powerful, and it is also very good for staggering all the time. It's just a really strong weapon in general, definitely top tier, and the AoE gun strikes don't hurt either. Now for the melee weapon selection, I do use a relic tier blockchain sword because despite only having 1 speed on the tactical class in particular, not only do you benefit a ton off of block charges armor restoring you, you also are able to use things like battle focus to nearly 1 combo any Majoras in the game. If you take close targeting on top of this, you will 1 combo any Majoras in the game, period. Super strong combo, and really the blockchain sword is still very strong in this game despite only having 1 speed. It may be unwieldy for a lot of people, but it's really up to you if you want to use this. I'm just saying this is certainly an option. This is the one I personally prefer. Now, if you want to take a balanced chainsword or a fencing chainsword, you certainly can do that. I'll show some setups for those in a second. But for the block chainsword, I just build it this way. I go down perpetual strength into swift recovery, and then we just build for like pure melee damage. We skip over the perk here, Saw Blade, because hitting 5 strikes in a light combo on a 1 speed weapon is just never happening. So I just go for the stop area of effect radius instead. Then move down here into the full throttle skip and pick up the perk here for Extremis Slayer and skip over things like momentum gain, because this does nothing for us, because once again light attacks are just not very strong on a 1 speed blockchain sword. Now for the fencing variant or the balance variant, which a lot of people probably want to use instead, I would just build it this way. It's mostly the same, but we just go down this perk tree and pick up perks like Combined Onslaught, because this one says light combo attacks of this weapon deal 10% more melee damage, and since we have a 7 speed on the balance one here or a 9 speed on the fencing version, this is actually pretty useful for us. Then we pick up full throttle for the skip as always. I'll put up like a little video of that and how to do the combo skip up here, and then we move down further once again to Extremis Slayer, and then we actually pick up momentum gain this time, because each consecutive light attack increases light attack melee damage by 3% up to 30% for 3 seconds, and that is very easy to pull off with a 7 speed or 9 speed weapons. Those are the setups for the chainsword if you're curious about those. Now for my perk tree setup, I do pick the perk balance distribution first. Your primary weapon deals 10% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 10% less damage. I want to maximize my damage on my heavy bolt rifle in this build, though if you want to take the perks plaza boost for the reasons I mentioned previously, you certainly can. It's really up to you. Both of these are good perks, and the perk down here, Crack and Penetrator rounds, not really useful for this build whatsoever. Now the next perk I take, I pretty much always take on any build, Height and Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This simply allows you to do things like gun strikes and parries that you'd otherwise be unable to if you were going to get staggered by sword warriors from behind or something like that. Very strong option for sure, and like no knockback in this game is just incredible, period. I do wish the other perks here were better or like in a different tree, because versatility is good, but losing no knockback for this is just not worth it, and this perk does not last long enough to be super useful, even like a fencing weapon, because a 5-second uptime is just like not super good on this perk. And if you look over here on the sniper's tree, it basically has the same perk as Relentless Pursuit with Exacting Focus. After a gun strike, you deal 20% more range damage for 10 seconds, but instead you lose 5% damage and you just gain an extra 5 seconds. That's way more worth it to me personally, so hopefully they change the perk there at some point, but for now, it's just the way Tactical is, and Height and Vigor is by far the best. Next perk I take is Emperor's Vengeance. Killing a Majora's level or higher enemy restores your primary weapon's ammo by 1 magazine. Cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Cooldown is 30 seconds. This perk is mandatory as far as I'm concerned for the heavy bolt rifle. This version is not super ammo efficient without it, but when you have this perk, you pretty much never run out, and it's super valuable, so pretty much always pick this up. And now the next perk I take is kind of up to you. I decided to take Aligned Aim. Range damage increases by 15% for all squad members, because I kind of just like range damage maxing on this class, though obviously Secure Stockpile is better. This one gives equipment to your whole team on a 60-second cooldown. This is the best team perk in the entire game, but like I don't want to play the same build all the time, so I decided to take this today. That was really up to you. Now I'll also mention the perk down here, Transhuman Physiology. All squad members restore 30% more contested health from range damage. This is really good, especially for guns like the bolt rifles that aren't really good for CHP regen anyways, unless we're talking like the bolt carbine, but this really helps enable like some of the shittier guns in the game, to be honest, to be good at CHP recovery. So if you want to take this instead, you certainly can, but like I just prefer range damage. That's just up to me. That's just up to you, I should say. Now next perk is Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. I find this one to be by far the most valuable perk in its entire tree. It just refunds your Auspex, and like getting a 50% charge back on your Auspex is super valuable, because Auspex, it does have a pretty long cooldown, and these ones just aren't as good, even though they're not like totally worthless. Now next perk I take is Battle Focus, because I just find this one is incredible, the blockchain sword. If you're not using a blockchain sword to give like the Auspex scan parry a one-shot potential, I would probably just take Precise Calibration, which is enemies marked by Auspex scan that take an additional 75% damage, but Auspex scan radius is reduced by 25%. This one stacks with concentrated fire to give you stupid amounts of value and damage from your Auspex, and if you get like a 50% charge back from vital data, you'll be doing it even more. This one can help your whole team nuke bosses so quickly. Really strong combo for sure, and it's kind of up to you which one you want to use, but like battle focus and precise calibration, by far the best two options in this tree currently. Now the next perk I take regardless is concentrated fire. Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. Now having a longer lasting Auspex just means your Auspex is more valuable on top of doing more damage. Now obviously they can leave the area, but the area is also bigger, the area is also just a longer lasting area, so you actually hit more guys potentially because like walk into it, and sometimes they put down like an Auspex scan and it'll last for so long that like an Extremis will pop out and just like jump into the scan radius and give you 50% of your charge back, so super strong for that for sure. I just like this perk quite a bit. Now the signature perk I take is Radiating Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. Now this perk does stupid damage. The horde clear potential of this is kind of ridiculous. Now it will actually explode wherever you were when you actually hit the execute button on an enemy. So like let's say you're running towards an enemy, when you hit your execute button you'll detonate at the spot you initially hit the button, and then your guy will like move over to the guy to like do the execute. So just keep that in mind, and if you want to kind of like manage the cooldown on this a little bit better, you can actually melee attack any guy in an execute stance, and like a gun strike opportunity will appear before you. You can gun strike them instead of like wasting the execute, so that's also an option you can do. Maybe I'll make a video of that someday, but like that's how you can save the cooldown on this for sure. And these other two perks, they fucking suck, so it's just the way it is. Now for my prestige perk selection, I do pick up Acuity first. Each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 3% up to 15%. The bonus lasts 5 seconds without a headshot. Well, since we are using a heavy bolt rifle that benefits off of headshots on top of stacking range damage, extra headshot multiplier damage is incredible, and it's like one of the best perks in the game for just like bonus headshot damage. Kind of silly they put this as like a prestige perk, but what are you gonna do? Next perk is Skilled Supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. I like this perk for operations because it just helps out the ammo economy, but if you are playing siege mode, I would probably take Spare Power because you're able to buy ammo boxes, and being able to spam Auspex on boss waves is incredible. Really top tier build for sure with this perk, but you know, Skilled Supplier is really up to you. Next perk is Resilience. I pretty much always take this. Medicae stims restore 40% more health. This perk might not sound incredible when you first read it, but in practice it feels really good. Your stims become super valuable, and this class is by no means tanky, so having extra survivability is incredible, and Medicae stims being valuable, especially in operations where they're kind of hard to come by, really helps your class out a ton. Now the next perk I have here is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. Pretty boring perk effect, but also a god tier perk effect because health increases in Space Marine 2 are super valuable. They make your stims worth more, they make your like lower HP damage reduction worth more. Just a super powerful perk in general, and once again the tactical is very squishy, so he really needs this. And Exigency Charge sucks, and Second Look also sucks. And that's pretty much all there is for the prestige perk selections, and thank you guys for watching this build guide video. That's pretty much all I have to say about this. It really is up to you which one you want to actually use for the chainsword, because I know a lot of people don't like the block one right now, but you can use whatever you want. Let's make that very clear. And also on the note of the block knife and like fencing knives, these aren't terrible. I just think the chainsword is overall better. And on the note of other heavy bolt rifle options, you pretty much build them all the same if you decide to use these. And that's pretty much all I have to say on this, guys. Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about a Marksman bolt carbine build for the tactical class in patch 9.0 Space Marine 2. Now the Marksman bolt carbine accuracy variant did receive a buff this patch and now has a ×2 headshot multiplier, and this thing actually does a ton of damage now, which is why I will be building for like mostly damage here. So first up, we take Headhunter in the perk tree here, move into Rapid Health. We also take the perk here, Home Precision. Equip weapons maximum spread decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. Even though this is more useful on the automatic version, it's still pretty strong here. Let's move over here into the perk Divine Might for bonus damage. Let me just pick up Headshot Damage, Divine Might for even more damage. Then move through here into Adamant Hunter when your health is below 30%. Headshots to deal 25% more damage. When this actually procs, your headshot damage on this build is disgusting. And unlike the Vanguard class, we really don't need to build for like ammunition at all here with things like increased capacity or magazine restoration, because we're tactical class. We have Emperor's Vengeance. Now, the final perk I take here is Recoupment. Killing a Majora's level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, Armor Restore, especially on the tactical class, is very, very strong because this class is actually pretty squishy right now compared to pretty much every single other class in the game at the moment, but he does a ton of damage, has aspects and stuff like that to make up for it. That's why I prefer armor regen on him. Now, for my secondary weapon selection, I have decided to take the heavy bolt pistol. Now, really, on this build, we would not be shooting with our secondary a whole lot, so mainly it's pretty much here for gun strikes. The only reason I decided to take the heavy bolt pistol here today is because I will not be taking the plasma boost perk and will instead be taking balance distribution, so I really won't be getting that much benefit out of the plasma pistol as I could be, but if you want to take this anyways, you sure can, and I would set up the heavy bolt pistol this way on the perk tree, and for the plasma pistol, I would just set it up this way, pretty standard. And for the melee weapon selection, I have actually decided to take the relic tier block version this time, because even though it only has a 1 speed, this thing hits like a truck. You can like 2 combo lictors with battle focus and our other perk tree setups here, and really this thing is kind of disgusting right now, and also its speed will be buffed in the future, so it's really only up from here. Now for the perk tree setup, I really do just take like all the perks I can for damage. We don't really benefit off from things like a momentum gain here, which is each consecutive light attack increases light attack melee damage by 3% up to 30% for 3 seconds, because it takes us like 5 business days to ever get a full light combo off, but either way, this sword is still very strong. Though I will say, if you want to take other options, you certainly can. All the chain swords in this game are pretty strong right now, even the block version, and the main thing that I want from block here is the armor regen versus Extremis, Terminus, and Majoris, because the tactical class really benefits from that more than most do, because armor is worth more than HP in this game, and he is the squishiest class currently, which is why I chose this one. And for my perk tree here, I do take balance distribution first. Your primary weapon deals 10% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 10% less damage. We don't really care about the damage loss on the secondary because our Marksman Carbine is what we will primarily be shooting here. We really don't struggle with ammo on it in the first place, so really valuable perk for us. Now, alternatively, you could take Plasma Boost. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40%, and their charge shots use 1 less energy. This is really, really strong right now, especially with the buff to the rate of fire plasma pistol. This thing charges faster than ever, so this is a ton of value, but that's really up to you. Now, the next perk I pretty much always take is Heightened Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is an incredibly valuable perk. More melee damage, more gun strike damage, no knockback, pretty much the best of everything in this game. It's super strong, pretty much always pick it. Now, next perk I take here is Emperor's Vengeance. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy restores your primary weapon's ammo by 1 magazine, cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity, cooldown is 30 seconds. Now, our Marksman Carbine is not super ammo efficient, so this really solves that problem, so it's a pretty S tier perk for that. Now, for the team perk selection, this is the kind of an off meta pick in this case. Aligned aim, range damage increases by 15% for all squad members. This is a really strong perk. Secure Stockpile is just better because this one gives equipment recharge to your entire team, but this one really does enable our Marksman Carbine to absolutely slap, which is why I took it today. Now, next perk here on the gear tree is Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. This perk tree here really doesn't matter for us that much because our Auspex scan is not that valuable, because I will not be taking precise calibration and things like concentrated fire. Instead, I will be taking battle focus and the perk here Close Targeting to maximize melee damage on both counts here, and also just get Auspex for free on melee bosses. So pretty valuable combo here, but if you want to take precise calibration and the perk Concentrated Fire, you could. These are also very strong picks. I decided to take this today because a blockchain sword absolutely annihilates things off of battle focus with this perk. Now, for the signature perk, we take Radiant Impact. Once again, a melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is disgustingly good, and these perks suck, so pretty much always take this one. The damage is truly significant. Now, for my prestige perk selection, I do take Acuity first. Each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 3% up to 15%. The bonus lasts 5 seconds without a headshot. Now, our Marksman Carbine does benefit a ton from headshots already, and this is just bonus damage for us, for being honest. Super strong perk for sure. Next perk I take here is Skilled Supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. Now, our Marksman Carbine is not super ammo efficient. This helps with that a little bit, and also even with Emperor's Vengeance, this is still an extra bonus, so pretty good. Now, next perk I take is Resilience. Medicae stims restore 40% more health. This just makes stims more valuable, and we are not very tanky, so this is pretty good good for us. And the final perk I take is Fortitude. Health increases by 15% because this is one of the only like tank perks on this whole class, so S tier for sure. Now, if you want to swap out Skilled Supplier for something like Spare Power, you can. This is pretty strong in Siege mode, but I wouldn't really take the Marksman Carbine to Siege mode for the most part anyways, but either way, that's really up to you. And Second Look is pretty worthless for the most part, and Exigency Charge hardly ever comes into effect, so that's why I picked these ones. But now, alternatively, you could take something like the Ammo Reserve option for this, but really losing out on the headshot multiplier is not very good on this gun, because if you're taking a Marksman Carbine, you're wanting to pop heads, and this one just does that the best. Now, if you're playing Vanguard, maybe I would take this one, but for Tactical and Sniper, your ammo economy is pretty damn good, so this one's definitely the best option. Now, as far as other options go for your chainsword, I would probably set up the tree this way for momentum gain and combined onslaught if you're going to be using a fencing or balanced version, because they are significantly faster, but block does hit like a truck, and honestly guys, I undervalue this weapon quite a bit. The 1 speed is not as bad for this weapon because of how heavy it hits in general, and it's really not as unwieldy as you might think. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this build. Hey guys, it's time to talk about a Bolt Carbine build for the Tactical class in patch 9.0 Space Marine 2. Now, the Bolt Carbine is one of the best weapons on the Tactical class, and really in the game period. It has amazing CHP regen, amazing headshot multipliers at close range, and also with its Marksman variant. And today I've chosen the Ammo Reserve option because this gun does not care about the accuracy stat like at all. Thanks to the perk down here, Home Precision, equipped weapons maximum spread decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. This basically turns your gun into a laser beam at the hip fire, and it's just an incredible perk in general, pretty much the only accuracy perk you need, period. It's a very strong option. Now, the other perks I pick up here are Headhunter into Rapid Health, then I move down here into Divine Might for a 10% damage increase, and I pick up 2 more Headhunter perks, and I also pick up the perk here, Cleaving Fire. Shots will penetrate enemy block stances, dealing 25% of the usual damage. Now, usually this perk kind of sucks, but against things like Biovores and also Sword Warriors, sometimes you'll like gunstrike them, they'll close their little sword arms together, and you just have to shoot them in the face for like 5 damage or something, and this can help with that, so not the worst. Next perk here is Amazing Adamant Hunter. When your health is below 30%, headshots deal 25% more damage. The headshot bonus from this feels like it affects the base damage of the weapon, and your gun's headshots just start to do stupid damage, period. Very strong perk. Then I move over here into the Perpetual Precision, and then up here into Gunstrike Reload. After a Gunstrike, this weapon instantly reloads. Now, even though we have like a magazine capacity of 46 on this thing with our setup here, it is still really good to be able to instantaneously reload this thing because this gun pretty much wants a non-stop fire. So very powerful perk here, and really good synergy with like really any build. Now, the other 2 perks I pick up down here are Extended Magazine for a 15% magazine size increase and a flat damage boost of 10%. That's pretty much the only way I have this set up. Now, alternatively, you could set it up like this and go down basically the same way up until we get to like the point here where instead of going into the Cleaving Fire, we just pick up the perks down here, move into the increased capacity, take the Adamant Restoration perk, or Magazine Restoration in this case, and I just move up for like another 10% damage increase down here and skip over Gunstrike Reload. Now, the only time I would take this setup is if I'm using the perk here, Emperor's Judgment, to instantaneously reload my weapon on a finisher. This perk is very good with this weapon, but I decided to take Emperor's Vengeance today, so I built for Gunstrike Reload instead. Now, for the secondary weapon, I do take a Plasma Pistol Rate of Fire variant. Once again, this gun did get buffed in patch 9.0. The rate of fire charge speed is kind of insane currently, and very good for staggering Soul Cannon Terminators and CHP regen, and also has amazing gunstrike damage of things like AoE gunstrikes. Very powerful option, and the only thing holding back this weapon currently is ammo economy, which is why we build all ammo efficiency on it, because that's pretty much like the best way to build this gun, period. I also pick up the perk here, Perpetual Velocity, for 20% faster charge speed to charge even faster on this thing and go like through the moon on our charge rate. So very, very strong weapon. Now, alternatively, you could use the Heavy Bolt Pistol. I would also take the Ammo Reserve option here, though the Tactical isn't used as primary as much, so if you want to go for like firepower, you can do that too. And I'd probably just build it down the top tree, even though I like the bottom here, but really I would just use Plasma, because Plasma is the best currently. Now, for the melee weapon selection, I will be using a Fencing Chainsword today, because 9 speed is incredibly fast, and a 12 plus strength is not bad by any means. Now, alternatively, you could use the balance or block ones. Really, every single chainsword is good currently, but the reason I'm using fencing is because I want as many gun strikes as possible, because I will be using the perk here, gun strike reloads. The more gun strikes we get, the easier it is to actually reload our weapons. So really good synergy here. Also, I have just like the ability to build into light combos and stuff like momentum gain and combined onslaught, and attacking faster with weapons. It usually feels good across the board, and this one also does pretty good damage. That's why I decided to use this one. Now, for the perk setup here, I do take balance distribution first. your primary weapon deals 10% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 10% less damage. Now, even though we lose 10% damage on our plasma pistol, it's still really good for stagger and CHP regen, though if you want to take the perk down here, Plasma Boost, when your plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40% and their charge shots use 1 less energy. This one will allow you to get like the maximum damage out of your secondary here with the rate of fire plasma pistol. It is like a super valuable perk with this weapon, but I decided to take this to maximize my bolt carbine damage today. Next perk here is Heightened Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gunstrike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. 10% more melee and gunstrike damage is super valuable, and no knockback for 10 seconds is just top tier, period. Absolutely saves your life. One of the best versions of this perk in the whole game, and pretty much the only perk I take in this line here, because versatility is good for like 25% more damage on your secondary weapon, but having no knockback on top of more melee damage and gunstrike damage for 10 seconds is just nutty, and this perk here needs like a longer uptime to be like super worth it. Now, next perk I take is Emperor's Vengeance. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy restores your primary weapon's ammo by 1 magazine, cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity, cooldown is 30 seconds. Now, this perk is just amazing for your ammo economy, though I did mention it previously that you could take Emperor's Judgment instead. After even finisher, the equipped weapon, ranged weapon, it reloads automatically, and your ranged weapons deal 20% more damage for 10 seconds. A very strong option for the bolt carbine, especially if you build it the other way I showed earlier, but the Emperor's Judgment I think is like overall worse perk than this one, so I picked up this one instead. Now, for the team perk selection, I do take Aligned Aim on this build for a 15% range damage increase for everybody. This perk is very good. It's obviously not as good as Secure Stockpile, which is a 60-second equipment charge or equipment recharge for your whole team, which is pretty absurd. This perk is kind of busted. Definitely top tier for Siege mode, the single best pick, or just like the single best team perk in the whole game. But Aligned Aim does make your headshot damage go into like the moon, so really strong for this build. If you want to take this, you certainly can. Now, for the gear perk tree here, I do take Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. Now, this perk actually works with Battle Focus in Operations. I've never actually seen it trigger the Vital Data off an Extremis in the Siege mode, but in Operations it will. It's really good synergy there. And also, Operations are a ton of fun, so really good option regardless. And in Siege mode, there are a ton of Terminus and Extremis anyways, so you'll get a ton of procs no matter what. So really, really good perk. Now, Battle Focus here, a perfect time parry or block gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. This basically makes it so the warrior in your face that you parry or perfect block, you can just shoot in the face casually with your bolt carbine and just annihilate their brain with the hip fire. Very, very powerful combo here. Now, down here, Precise Calibration is another option. Enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 75% damage, but the Auspex scan's radius is reduced by 25%. This combined with the Concentrated Fire perk gives you stupid amounts of damage in your Auspex zone, but it's kind of redundant for Operations at times. But in Siege mode, this can positively nuke bosses and like later waves of enemies here. Now, the next perk I pretty much always take as well is Concentrated Fire. Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. This is just a pure value perk. 60% longer Auspex scans mean your Auspex does just more when you put it out, and also 120% more damage on Auspex scan is incredible, and the radius of the Auspex is pretty damn big anyways, so like usually an Extremis will just sit in there, or like multiple of them. Very, very easy to like still get the full damage out of this, and by far the best perk in this whole tree. Now, for the signature perk tree, there really is only one good signature perk on the tactical currently, and that is Radiating Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk can save your life and also just wipe out whole packs of Majoris Extremis and deal significant boss damage. If you want to make sure you don't waste the cooldown on this, basically, if there's like a guy in Execute and you whack them a single time with a melee attack, they will be set up into a gunstrike, like a little gunstrike icon will appear on them. You can shoot them instead, not waste the cooldown, and like save it for later. So you can strategically use this. It's a very powerful perk, and like this is honestly like an absolute lifesaver for the tactical class, and by far the best option, because Marked for Death has fallen off entirely and Signal Jammer was never good, period. Now, for the Prestige perk selection, we are using a Bolt Carbine, so I always take Acuity. Each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 3% up to 15%. The bonus lasts 5 seconds of that headshot. Kind of a no-brainer, just always take extra headshot damage wherever you can find it if you're using a bolt weapon. Next perk I would take is Skilled Supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. This just makes us more ammo efficient and also affects our secondary weapons, so really strong option there. Then I skip over Second Look, go down to Spare Power, putting the ammo box restores ability charged by 25%. Now, if you are playing Siege mode, I would take this over Skilled Supplier because you can get ammo boxes a lot more easily and buy them in the store. But for operations, I'd probably just take this. Now, the next perk I would take regardless is Resilience. Medicae stims restore 40% more health. This actually gives your stims a ton of value. You really notice like this the more you play with it. Really saves your life at times. It makes your stims like a super emergency button, very strong option. And the next perk here is pretty much mandatory. Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. This perk simply allows you to live where you would otherwise die, period, and get one shot. And this class is already very, very squishy compared to all the other ones right now. He has basically no damage reduction, so he needs HP more than anybody. So pretty much always take this. And that is really all there is for this build guide. Hopefully this helped, and Bolt Carbine is a ton of fun. It really has been for a long time in this game, and it's still one of my preferred weapons on the tactical class.
Subterranean Xenos below. Full space prime. Detecting my static mine. Swapping magazine. Go beast! Take it down! No Tyrannid will ever... Thought you could hide from the start. You are fertilizer now, Xenos. Fresh magazine in.
Defenses up on the bridge and lure that Xenos Colossus into the kill zone. That's a lot of guys, huh?
Swapping magazine. Pathetic tyranny of bodies. Area cleansed of the foul Xenos. Fresh magazine. Disgusting tyranny. All space tagged as overflow. Reloaded. All space tagged a burrowing tyranny. Target seeks to mobilize reinforcements. Eliminated. Enemy reinforcements have heard the rally cry. Exterminate. Changing magazine. Silence that vermin school for more of its foul threat. We will slay it and its allies. Pathetic tyranny of abomination. Rearming. Using crack grenade. Xenos sites are outmatched. Fresh magazine in. Burning. Exterminate. Disgusting tyranny scum. Swapping magazine. We have it. For the glory of Ultramar! Reloading. Death spasm.
Let's grab our little ammo box here.
Past fatal levels.
Dodge that. Dodge that. Dodge that. Dodge that. Parry that. And just shoot him in the face.
Rearming. Respect, keep scan ready. Respect engaged. Fresh magazine in. Setting thermal charge. You are fertilizer now, Seagulls. Reloading. We set that up perfectly.
And that is the power of the bolt carbine.